Hello, fellow collectors. Today we're going to take a look at Nissan GT-Rs. We have a nice selection of GT-Rs here. We have 5 from Mini GT. We have a Nissan GT-R 50 Italdesign from Eracar, which is very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to taking a look at that. And then we also have a GT-R Nismo GT500 race car from a brand called speedgt that looks very, very interesting. So we'll be taking a look at that as well. But first up, Enzo is also here, and he would like to say buongiorno. And I don't know if you caught it, but I think behind those sunglasses I detected a wink. And I think that wink was aimed at Liz over at CRA Diecast. And they seem to have a little bit of a budding romance there. And Enzo has been, very busy in the factory for the last few days, and he's come up with the special Liz edition of the 365 GTS4 with a little gift for Liz in the back seat, or in the front seat since it's a two-seater. But Enzo has no interest in Nissans. So he's going to hop in his car and he's going to go get on his private jet and fly off to Australia. While we're going to stay here and we're going to take a look at these cars. So let's get started. First up, we're going to take a look at this Pandem from Mini GT. This is a fairly old release at this stage. As far as Mini GTs go, since they've only been around for a few years. I think this one was from sometime last year. A nice velocity blue with a yellow ducktail wing. These are all in Miho exclusive packaging. This particular one was limited to 3,000 in this Miho exclusive packaging. And so let's get this out and take a look at it. So first up, the box, just real quickly. We've seen many of these boxes at this stage. So this is collector number 93, which means it's a fairly old model. I think Mini GT is pushing north of collector number 300 now. So they've put out quite a few models. And actually, GT-Rs, they've put out over 50. I think probably closer to 55 at this stage. But this one is in a very beautiful metallic blue with a very cool looking yellow ducktail, yellow Pandem on the window, and some kind of almost chrome wheels, which look really good. I mean, a lot of times in 1/64 scale, stuff that's actually chromed really doesn't look very good. It tends to just look really fake. So these, even though these are just short of being, truly chrome, they're not bad. I mean, I guess the rims are, you probably could call that chrome, but they look real. They look good, look pretty realistic, and I'm glad to see that Mini GT does this. I mean, they just do a fantastic job overall. So this is your typical Mini GT model. You'll get the same inserted details for the headlights. You get the rubberized mirrors, although they're not super rubbery on this one, but and then inserted, or are these painted? Actually, it looks like these may be painted on this one. Yeah, so they're just painted on the GT-Rs. Most of their models do have plastic inserts for the taillights as well. So we'll try to take some kind of look at the interior, although it's going to be almost impossible. You can't really see much of anything through those windows. But yeah, overall, this is a pretty cool model. This is the second version of this style GT-R that I have. I have this yellow one with a carbon fiber hood as well, which is also very nice. Not sure which one I like better. Maybe the blue one, actually. But so very cool. All right, next up, we'll look at this. This is a LB Silhouette. The body kit is LB Silhouette body kit, and this has the very classic John Player Special livery on it. And this livery originated in the 70s, I believe. And I believe it was first applied on Formula One cars, but I could be wrong about that. I'm not sure on that detail, but it's certainly very famous and has been used many times on various race cars through the years. So again, just a quick look at the box. It's number 179, LB Silhouette Works GT, Liberty Walk on one end, Mini GT. We don't need to dwell on these too much. And then the car. This one's very nice. This one gets a 6-spoke wheel. I think that's the first Mini GT model that I've gotten that has this style of wheel on it, at least in a GT-R. I think I may have seen it on a BMW, but as far as a GT-R goes, I think this is the first time I've seen it used. So this, I mean, even though this is the John Player Special, this is not really a race car. This is a street car. And so this is just, you know, gussied up to have this livery in a nice black and gold. And the Silhouette body kit, I think, is probably of the fancier body kits that have a big wing on the back, I think this one is probably my favorite. This one doesn't show it off very well because it's black. You can't. It's a little bit hard to see the shape of the fender flares and things along those lines. But it's cool. Lots of aero features on this. But oh, that's interesting. So they have actually printed the name of the car on the bottom of this one. This is not something that Mini GT has regularly done. Oh, this one has it too. Interesting. Are they doing this all the time on GT-Rs? Apparently so. Interesting. Huh. That has definitely not been on every Mini GT model. Is this common now? Let's look at this. This is a brand new Porsche. See this one? Brand new Porsche. They just put this out. And no indication of what it is on the bottom. They can do it on these. Why don't they do it on all of them? Interesting. All right. Anyway, we don't need to dwell on that. So next up, we'll look at the other Liberty Walk body kit style. They have a couple different Liberty Walks. They have a couple different Pandems. And then they have some different rear wing styles. Same body kit, but different rear wings. So again, the quick look at the box. 64, this is another older release, or at least has an older collector number. Mini GT does not release the cars in sequence. So, they, like I mentioned, they're over 300 in their collector numbers, but you'll still get brand new releases that come out with numbers, I believe, even below 200, because they have assigned the collector numbers well before the cars are actually released to the market. But this one is in the typical Sunrise Liberty Walk livery. This is a very common livery. They've put out a number of different versions of this car with with this livery. Like the silver one has a similar livery on it. And this is an example of the two different wing types. This one has a ducktail, or there's more than two different wing types. This one has a ducktail. This one has this style of wing, and then there's another style of wing, which I believe this one may have. No, yeah, it does. So this one's okay. Well, anyway, once we get those out of the package, we'll look at that more closely. Actually, it looks like I have 4 different styles of wings at least. All right, we'll look at that again in a minute. So let's just take a quick look around this car. What does this say? Focus here. Oh, I guess it says what LB Works, LB Performance. And Most of the details on these are pretty similar. Headlights will look pretty similar on all of them. You can look at the differences between the Liberty Walk and the Pandem body kit. This particular style, it's not a dramatic difference. Actually, I mean, you have this is curved here, whereas this one kind of steps out and then has a straight line down instead of being curved. But the front wheel fender flare is actually very similar on both cars, and the front end is different. You have these 4 indentions here, but not dramatically so. So anyway, it's very cool. Mini GT's just put out so many of these GT-Rs. It's getting a little bit old. I don't have all of them. I only have maybe 7 or 8 of these. But then I've been trying to get one of each style of the car that they've put out. So another older release here, number 49. LB Works in satin silver. And quick look at the box. Nothing super interesting. And this is an example of a car that really looks a lot better once you get it out of the package. And it actually looks a lot better to the naked eye than it does even on camera. I think the camera washes out the character in the silver a little bit, because it looks, looking past the camera or past my phone screen, the car looks much more interesting than it does on screen. So if you like this car at all, I'd suggest buying one so that you can look at look at it yourself. Because Mini GT, I love Mini GT, and I find each one to be a little gem that you just want to kind of covet and and inspect in detail. Even though they aren't the world's most detailed models, like we'll be looking at this speedgt here in a little bit, and this is a much more detailed model. But Mini GT is a great compromise. I think it's probably my favorite level of diecast. You have less detailed things like Hot Wheels and Matchbox and those kind of things, and then you have more detailed things like Tarmac Works Hobby 64, or going up into resin models and various other things along those lines. But Mini GT and Tarmac Works Global 64 for me hit that sweet spot of good enough detail, good enough reality in the cars, and they still roll. So they're not fully removed from being toys, so they're not just this static thing that can only sit on the shelf. It's like you can roll it around your desk a little bit. Not that you would want to do a whole lot of that, because they are somewhat fragile, but they just for me hit that sweet spot. So I just absolutely love them. And this one's beautiful. Like I said, it looks much better off camera than it does on camera. I wish I could show it to you a little bit better, and also out of the package, because when I first got this I was like, this one looks kind of meh. Looking at it in the package, it really wasn't all that cool. But getting it out of the package and being able to look at it and hold it and turn it around, it's definitely a very cool one. Okay, so we have one more Mini GT. This one is another LB Silhouette body kit. Nissan 35 GT-R. Was the other one a GT-R? Yeah, it was. Okay, I don't know what that means. I should look that up. Should have looked that up. But so this one is in lava red, and I think this is another really beautiful color. And what was the collector number on this one? Oh, 191. So this is a more recent release. And I said, again, we don't need to dwell on the box. And Here, this is a beautiful color. And again, on the camera, it looks very different than it does in your hand. On the camera, it looks kind of washed out. Like maybe if I turn the light down a little bit and get a little bit more sense of the color. And it shows a little more yellow tone to it, which I think is just maybe picking up the other room lights. And because it looks very red in my hand. Like on the camera, it looks almost orangish red, and that is not the way that it looks under with your actual eye. But you get a carbon fiber hood on this one, and the same silhouette body kit. Not that one. That was the John Player had the silhouette body kit. Same silhouette body kit. This one does have the same wing. So these are just two versions of the same car. Same hood. And the same, everything else is going to be the same, just different detail treatment. So this one's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You really do. You have to get these in your hand and really look at them yourself to truly appreciate them. Mini GT just does a fantastic job. So comparing it to the Pandem again, and it's very cool. So then the other style of wing. So this is another Liberty Walk. So you have this wing that attaches to the back. I think this is called a Type 2 wing, and this must be the Type 1 wing. And this is not the silhouette body kit. So it's like a mystery game here to try to keep track of which type of GT-R you're looking at. So here you've got the wing that attaches to the back. You have a ducktail, Liberty Walk, regular Liberty Walk body kit, and then you have this one, which is also the regular Liberty Walk body kit, but with this other type, I guess the Type 1 wing. So anyway, it makes it fun. Having the variations makes it fun. But the one thing Mini GT still hasn't done is put out a stock GT-R with no body kit. And I really wish that they would. But this one's a fantastic release. This one just came out. It's brand new. I showed that in another video if you're wondering what that is. But okay. So moving on, let's take a look at this Italdesign. So this is the Nissan GT-R 50 by Italdesign. And what this car is trying to take the guts of the GT-R, or taking a GT-R and modernizing, or I shouldn't say modernizing it, styling it and tuning it even further, and trying to bring some Italian design to the GT-R, which I guess kind of implies that the Italians think that the GT-R is ugly or something. And we'll get this one out of the package. I don't know, if you've never seen this car, I think it's debatable, or at least to me it's debatable, whether this car actually looks better than the regular GT-R. But let's get this one out so that we can actually take a look at it. This one has a removable hood. And oops, I just dumped the car out. Before we look at that, let's take a look at this package, because this is different. This is from eracar. This is definitely a less common brand, and has a cool silhouette of the car on the front, and then on the back it has a rendered version of the car. And this is unusual packaging for eracar as well. Eracar normally just comes in a box. They usually look like this, and I'm not a fan of the whole take things out of the box and put it in a blister thing, because of the wasted plastic, and just these take up so much room and whatever. So I'm not going to dwell on that. We still get a box. So let's see Mini GT is good about giving you, in the boxes, they give you a plastic insert that you can put the car in and put it back in the box. And let's see if eracar does it. Ah, they do. They did a good job. There you go. So kudos to eracar for doing that right, because not everybody can. So anyway, this is a very nice box. Tells you what it is on the end. That's a good thing too. Both sides, actually, you can tell from most sides what's actually in the box. So good job, eracar, on that aspect of this. And let's get the actual car. So there's no hood on it, so let me find the hood. The hood is in this package, taped in here. And let's see how well is this going to fit on here. These kind of things can always make or break a model like this. So it seems to sit fairly well. So it doesn't look too bad. That's been my complaint with eracar. Like their stock Nissan GT-R Nismo has opening doors, and the doors definitely do not sit to 100% satisfactory level. There's a little bit they're a little crooked and a little bit of a gap on it, which is unfortunate. But so this is basically the stock car that this is customized from. So they start with a GT-R Nismo, which is is this car, and then they have restyled it completely for this Italdesign version. And the rear end especially is completely different. And so we can get that to focus, we can see it a little better. Maybe a little more light if I turn that down. And I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Is that an improvement? I suppose it looks modern, but so let's this is another GT-R Nismo. This one's from Atomica Limited Vintage, and this is for the Nissan GT-R, for what it is. This is the classic look for the rear end of the car. I feel like they've completely lost the character of the car and the way they've redesigned that. I mean, from the side it doesn't look too bad, but from the front, again, I don't. I mean, the GT-R is not really the world's most beautiful car. It's a cool car, just because it's a little bit unassuming looking, and it's very powerful. I mean, like the GT-R Nismo has 600 horsepower, which is kind of a mind-blowing amount of horsepower. And it's it doesn't look it's not super fancy looking like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or the super high-end cars like a Pagani or a Bugatti or something like that. So it's a little kind of under the radar sort of. I mean, I guess you can't really say that about a GT-R, but it's it is a thing that makes it, to me at least, it makes it more interesting. Whereas this is trying to make it look fancier. It doesn't look bad from the side, but honestly, from the side, it looks an awful lot like a Camaro to me. I mean, if I had a Camaro here handy, which I don't, I'm sure in comparison they wouldn't look very much alike. But if I saw that from the side, that looks a lot like a Camaro to me. And the front end, that doesn't look like anything. I don't know. It looks like whatever this thing is. So, looks like there's a little paint issue there. Lost my pointer. Yeah, so we've got a little paint issue right here. Oh, okay, so it's just gonna maybe come off. All right, well, I can mess with that later, sorry. But, yeah. Oh, yeah. So this car, yeah, has 711 horsepower. They're only building 50 of them, and they cost $1.1 million each. So, what do you think? Would you spend $1.1 million for a car like this? Would you spend $12 for a 1/64th scale model of a car like this? That is the question. I know my answer. I mean, I bought this. Obviously, I'll spend the $12 for the scale model, but 1.2 million. Yeah, no, no, no. So we got the engine. It looks, you know, kind of interesting. It's kind of cool to have the completely removable hood, which helps minimize the panel gaps, I guess. This doesn't look too bad. So this is metal body, plastic base. I mean, technically these are inserted details for taillights. I don't think they really look particularly good. The headlights are, I mean, I guess you would consider those inserted details. Eracar does not do the rubberized mirror thing, although they do have some silver paint in the mirror. But yep, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to look at. It looks kind of cool. I mean, it's cooler if you don't think of it as a GT-R. If you try to think of it as a GT-R, it's like kind of a corruption of the GT-R to me. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think. So we have one more to look at, and this one is a very interesting one. And I have not had this out of the package at all yet, so I don't have any idea what we're getting here. So obviously it's an acrylic case, not the cleanest looking acrylic case. Actually, it's kind of scuffed up overall, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not really a big fan of acrylic cases. All right, so this is held on by one screw, but that antenna on there, I think that's going to force me to keep it on the base. Yeah, so this is beautiful. If you like race cars, so this is the GT-R Nismo GT500. So this is a Super GT car that races in Japan and in the Super GT series. And in Super GT, there's two classes of cars. There's the GT500s, which are like this, which are, basically silhouette prototypes in a lot of ways. They're incredibly advanced vehicles. They're very similar to the cars that used to run in DTM, and in fact, at one point they normalized the rules between DTM and Super GT, GT500, so that the same cars could race in both series, although that was never particularly effective. And DTM just recently switched to running GT3 spec hardware, or GT3 spec cars. And in Super GT, you have the GT500 class, which is this car, and then you have the GT300 class, which runs GT3 spec vehicles. So, like here we have a Mercedes AMG GT3. On the surface, it doesn't look dramatically different, but this is a much more expensive, much more advanced vehicle than the GT3 spec cars. And DTM switched from running this style of car to running GT3 cars because just to save money. The series was much too expensive for for how popular it was, and so they needed to make the switch to this more standard hardware. This is a very common car. It runs in many series all around the world. It runs in IMSA. It runs in the World Endurance Championship. It runs in Actually, no, GT3 hardware does not run in the World Endurance Championship, sorry. Runs in the Blancpain series in Europe, and then it runs in various GT series all around the world, Australia, Japan. I think there's a GT series in Africa, probably specialized series in the Middle East that I'm just unfamiliar with, and South America. Maybe. I don't know. Actually, I don't know about GT3 in South America. I think they have, at least in Brazil, they have their own classes of cars that they run, which are also very interesting. But anyway, I'm talking too much about this, not focusing enough on the actual model, which is what I think everybody's going to care about. So let's see if we can zoom in a little bit here. So it looks pretty good. So this is diecast. This is diecast, not resin, as far as I can tell. And the headlights look good. They don't look great. They seem to be roughly Mini GT quality. I think in a lot of ways this model probably looks Mini GT quality, which is not a bad thing, but this is a more expensive model. So other than the antenna is the one detail that that a Mini GT would not have, because those are going to break off. The interior, let's see if we can have any hope of seeing anything in here. So there's no passenger seat. The windows are probably not clear enough to be able to see in there. I can't really see anything here. See if I can see. So actually the interior is kind of interesting. It looks like there's no seat. Sorry, I'm trying to look at the model, not through the camera. You can see a steering wheel. There's a steering wheel there, which is sitting way too high. And then you have a roll cage, which you can see right here. But I can't really see a seat in there. I can see something in the middle. I wonder if the seat... So again, sorry, I'm trying to look at it with my eyes, and I keep moving it out of the frame of the camera. Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to see in there. But yeah, you can see again the roll cage, but you can see the way that it's sitting here. This is definitely not a super high-end model. I don't remember how much this cost. I'm going to take it off the base because I want to know if it rolls. It still looks really cool, right? I'm looking at it at significant magnification. And that's not typically the way that you look at a model. So the bottom, nothing on it. It's plastic. And the wheels do turn, so let's see. Move these guys back a little bit. And it does it does roll. You got to put a little pressure on it to get it to work, but it does roll. It's light. It feels more like a Sparky than it does a Mini GT once you get it off the base, and I think that's largely because of the plastic base. So like this is a Sparky, and these in the hand they feel very similar, and are of a very similar quality. I think they're of a very similar quality overall. Other than it has this antenna on the top. Otherwise, a lot of the details and such seem very similar to a Sparky, probably even down to the interiors. Let's see, do I have a GT-R accessible? Let's see. Actually, I don't have one open, but I do have this one, so we can open this one really quickly. sure it's very exciting and pleasant to listen to me cutting plastic with scissors. If I had planned on opening this, I would have pre-cut it. But all right, so this is, you know, a Nissan GT-R Nismo GT3. So this would be the type of car you would find running in the GT300 class in Super GT in Japan. This one's from the FIA GT World Cup. And oh, come on. There we go. All right. So we're trying to see. Yeah, and again, feels kind of similar. Actually, this is even lighter. This is actually a little bit heavier. Sparkies are usually pretty light, but their GT-R is a little bit heavier than their other castings. And I was just trying to get a look at the interior on this. It's really hard to see. But anyway, okay, I think we're probably spending too much time on this. It's a beautiful model. I definitely like it. It's very cool. It's not a super high-end model. Like I said, it's probably equivalent to a Sparky, and a Sparky is, you know, a $10 to $12 model, like a Mini GT. I believe this was maybe in the $20 range, $25 range, somewhere in there. I don't remember exactly how much it cost. It, you know, it came directly from China, and anyway, I'm happy to have it. I think it's really cool, and I don't typically appreciate models. I mean, I'll use a magnifier to look at them when I first get them, but in general, I'm much more interested in what the car represents and what it makes me think about when I look at it. And in this case, this is a GT500 car, and I don't know off the top of my head, I don't know of any other GT500 cars that have been released in 1/64 scale. So this is a win to me, and it's quite a selection of GT-Rs here, and we even got an extra one that I wasn't planning on including. And let me clean this up, get this Mercedes out of the way, and well, there you go. That's the GT-Rs, and I guess I don't have anything else to say. So thank you for watching. If you made it this far listening to me ramble, thank you again. And, you know, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Not all of my videos are this rambly. And have a good evening. Thank you.